one thing I always try to impress on clients is the importance of doing what works for you. I mean, we're continuously being told that there is a set trajectory to implementing change, to healing, to spiritual growth, to personal development. And the reality is, we're all too individual for there to be any sort of generic guaranteed plan that would work. I mean, if there was, we'd all be following it and we'd all be perfect, you know? So it's about being very aware of the fact that you need to cater to who you are as an individual, what your needs are, and what your desired outcome are, and be very mindful of the level of cultural and social influence you are under. I mean, as I said, we're continuously being told all we have to do is look at our phones that X, Y, and Z is what we should aim for, you know, that we need to be successful, that we need to be to look a certain way, that we need to achieve certain things, that we need to meditate for X amount of minutes a day in order to achieve. And you know, it's never ending, and it makes no allowance for our uniqueness. It doesn't allow us to excel because we're basically following somebody else's instructions for their life as opposed to our own. And consequently, we can get so frustrated because we feel like as if we set these crazy high standards. I should be there, or you know, I should be doing this, or this is how I should feel, or this is where the results should be, and why amn't I? And we begin to second guess ourselves, and it can be really, really difficult, particularly with the spiritual side of things, if we start implementing that mindset of standards and perfectionism and all or nothing thinking. Because literally, if you go into the healing journey, or if you go into a spiritual path with this idea that you're either going to be a success or a failure, then you're certainly in the wrong place, because it's the one area where there is so much ambiguity. There is one step forward, 3 steps back, 10 steps forward, you know, 15 back, and that's just the nature of the beast. And that is a lifetime journey. You know, you never get there. There is no final destination, and I think we really struggle with that. We struggle with the serendipitous nature of life, the fact that we can't control things, the fact that we cannot stay on top of things, that we don't have any guarantees. And because of that, we tend to rely on others. We tend to look to others for what it is that we should be doing, and we lose out on our own innate creativity and curiosity, which is so important when it comes to discovering what it is that we need in order to be a more evolved person, to transform, to be able to show up for ourselves, to be able to connect deeply with others, and to fulfill our, you know, purpose and our essence as a person, to live a very awake and alive life, to be very I suppose joyful about not knowing, about not being in control, and being able to tolerate that. And one great example I see is that of meditation. You know, people want a set path, they want a set of directions, and they assume that something amazing is going to happen. And I mean, nothing amazing happens. In fact, sometimes you can come out of a meditation and you can be worse than before you went in, you know. And it's just because all of a sudden you're becoming aware of all the bullshit and you're beginning to observe it. But I mean, you just keep doing it anyway. It's kind of like flossing your teeth. You don't floss your teeth and think, oh my god, my life is going to be different afterwards, but we still do it because we know it's good for us. Likewise with brushing your teeth, likewise with so many things in life. And yet we find it very difficult to apply that sort of mindset to our emotional and mental health. We assume that things should look very different immediately, but the change is so incremental. I mean, you just have to stick with it. You just have to be committed to recognizing that there are certain things that you will do that will benefit you in the long run, that won't necessarily be enjoyable in the short term. And it's about, I suppose, detaching from a kind of a destination, detaching from achieving anything, and just going in with a very open mind and a very open heart, and then finding a way of implementing it into your day-to-day life that actually suits you. You know, if you don't have the time to do 30 minutes of meditation, then do 2 minutes of meditation maybe 4 times a day, and everyone is stuck at, kind of at some stage of their day, be they brushing their teeth, where they have the opportunity to just clear their mind a little bit and to just ask themselves a few core questions about, what am I thinking about right now, what am I feeling right now. So it's about, as I said, accommodating the things that are good for you to suit your individual needs. And again, I suppose you see it as well in mindfulness. I mean, some people find going to the gym is great for mindfulness. Some people need to sit and be really silent. Some people need to be in company. Some people need to be in nature. Again, it's very much down to the individual, and don't assume that because something has worked for somebody else that that's what you need to do. Don't be afraid to think for yourself. Don't be afraid to ask yourself, what is it that I need, as opposed to what is it that everybody else is doing. And don't be afraid to not automatically know the answer. I mean, be ready for trial and error. We don't tend to find the right thing straight away. Like, life just isn't like that. So to throw in the towel just because we're not seeing the results that we required immediately is just a bit absurd. So be patient with yourself, be tolerant with yourself, be very humble about this, because you have a whole life getting to know yourself. You have a whole life trying to heal and trying to evolve who you are. So it's not a race, so stop treating it like one. If you would like to work with me on a one-to-one basis, get in touch with me on the website. It's fundamentals.ie.